Wally Marcus. Our show today is Child Support Guidelines with Attorney Robert Barrasso. Support for Divorce TV provided in part by the Center for Divorce Mediation, 520-577-1202. Welcome to Divorce TV. I'm your host, Wally Marcus. I've been a divorce mediator for over 25 years, and our topic today is Child Support Guidelines. My guest is Attorney Robert Barrasso, or as he is popularly known, Attorney Bob. You can get more information about our program, guests, or contact us with questions at the website at the bottom of your screen. You can also see our show at Divorce TV, which is YouTube/Divorce TV. Bob, welcome.
Greetings. Good to see you, Wally.
Good to see you. Finally get to meet you. We've heard lots about you over the years and how you're the child support guideline guru. So
I don't pretend to be a guru. No, I'm just on the committee.
Well, we need that. It's a big help. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Bob?
Sure. I've been a family law attorney for about 25 years. I'm also the proud father of several children. They're all adults now. I was never divorced, so I never had to pay child support. And I've been in family law pretty much from the time I hung my own shingle. I started doing some advertising in the area of father's rights and kind of got the reputation as a father's rights attorney early on in my career. I really consider myself a child's advocate. I represent mothers and fathers, so I think parents need their kids, whether they're a mom or a dad. And recently I was put on the child support committee adopted by the Supreme Court, and so that's what I'm doing right now.
That's good. Our topic today is child support, but as strange as it is, some people may not know what child support really is. What is child support?
Well, if you are divorced or if you happen to have a child out of wedlock and that child doesn't live with you full time, usually you're going to have to pay child support, and the court will be involved in that, and the court will order an amount of child support to be paid based on certain calculations. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute, and they will do it by wage assignment. You don't really have much choice in it.
Who pays child support?
The parent that has what we typically call the non-custodial parent, the parent with minority time. For simplicity, we'll refer to him as the father. It is still true that well over half of mothers get primary custody. I'm not trying to be sexist about it, but it'll just be a little easier if we say father, meaning the parent who is more the visiting parent. If the parents have equal time and their income's equal, then usually neither of them pay child support. If they have equal time and one parent's making substantially more than the other parent, then that parent would pay some child support to the other 50-50 parent.
Okay, so fathers don't always have to pay child support.
No, not if they have custody or if they have 50-50 custody and the income is about equal.
And we'll talk a little bit about that later on. How long do you have to pay child support?
The presumptive termination date for child support is when the child reaches 18 unless the child's still in high school. Then it's the last day of the last month that the child attends high school, or 19. If the child's 19, no matter what, child support stops unless it's a disabled child.
Okay. What happens if you don't pay child support?
Well, if you're ordered to pay child
support... By the way, if you have examples, like people going to jail or something like that, one of my favorite ones, I'll give you an example of my examples, is I had a judge once who was trying to collect child support, and the guy asked him what kind of car he was driving, and he said a Cadillac, and he said, you sell the Cadillac.
Well, if you don't pay child support, there's lots of things that can happen to you. Not very much happens automatically. Through federal legislation, each state is supposed to help parents enforce child support. And in Arizona, the Attorney General's Office, Child Support Enforcement Division, they help enforce child support. If you don't pay child support and the other parent, usually the mother, doesn't do anything, then it may show up on your credit report that you owe child support. There may be an income tax intercept, but otherwise nothing will happen. But if mother files for contempt or asks the state to file for contempt, then the court can start doing more and more things to make your life miserable if you don't pay and they believe you can pay.
Does that actually happen a lot? Or
it does happen a lot. There is a halftime calendar almost every day where they are bringing people in, some of them in orange suits, which is what they wear when they're in the Pima County Jail, for people to enforce child support. So the court can do a lot if you don't pay child support, including putting you in jail, taking away your driver's license, reporting you to credit reporters, taking more and more money out of your paycheck. So it's a good idea not to get behind in child support.
But what happens if you really can't? I mean, somebody who really can't afford it. They've lost their job. They have every intent to pay, and they just can't afford to do it.
Well, this is a real problem that we have in the economy right now, and my very strong advice to the people who can't afford child support is modify your child support. Go on the web, try to find some forms. You can go to my website, and there's a link that says helpful links that gets you to the Pima County forms website, and it's not that hard to file to modify your child support. But if you're out of a job and you're broke and you wait for a year, you still have to pay all of that child support even though you were broke. You cannot retroactively modify your child support.
What happens if a wife says to the husband, I understand you can't pay it, don't worry about it?
Get it in writing.
Simple answer to that one. How is, we're going to sort of getting into it, I know that we're going to be talking a little bit more about child support guidelines, but how do you determine child support?
Well, right now it's determined one way. If the new guidelines that are being considered by the Supreme Court are adopted, it will be a different way. Right now we use the income shares model. To give you a real quick rundown, we figure out what dad earns, what mom earns. We go to a chart and look at what average couples supposedly spend on their child, and then dad would pay his percentage of that number. And then they will give him a discount for visitation. So if he has a lot of visitation, and that we now call it parenting time, he would pay less child support. And then the parents also have to split proportionate to their income insurance, non-covered medical expenses, and tax deductions.
Is that, I always wonder with child support whether that works. In terms of, they sort of calculate things based on income, but sometimes the one person has a really big house, the other one has a less of a house. The kids. Does it take a holistic approach to the family's finances?
Well, that jumps us into the new guidelines. The new proposed guidelines, we have a professor who's a great professor at Arizona State University. His name's Ira Elman, and he's on our committee, and he has done an incredible amount of work. And he has studied the child support outcomes according to our guidelines and other state guidelines. And he has found that especially in middle and lower income households where mom has the kids, and especially where dad is making significantly more income, that what happens after the parties break up is that dad's lifestyle takes much less of a hit than mom's lifestyle. And so the kids end up getting the brunt of this. So the new guideline committee has developed what we call child outcome-based support. And the calculations especially require more child support to be paid to lower income moms or dads if they have custody, especially where the higher income parent is the non-custodial parent. There's some pros and cons to both of them. If you look too much at individual circumstances, then it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and lawyers get involved. So we want the guidelines to be simple, but yet we do want to have room for individual circumstances.
What's the interplay between the child support? Because there's another factor in that clearly is alimony or spousal maintenance. How does the two of those work together?
Right now, and in the new guidelines, alimony would be deducted from dad's income before we figure out what he pays, and it would be added to mom's income. With the new child support amounts, an example I can give you is if a dad is making $6,000 a month and the mom is making $2,000 a month, under the old guidelines, the support, depending on a few variables, might be in the $600 range for one child. Now it's going to be almost $1,000. The question is that spousal maintenance? Are we giving so much money from the richer dad to the poor mom that we're paying to really improve her lifestyle and not just the children's? The answer is kind of. You can't really help the child without helping the parent living with the child.